There's a first time for everything.
He's fighting for his first win in the Truck Series.
Careers planted as determined seeds surface for success.
This will be the most important restart of Matt Crafton's life.
In each of the last 2 truck races, the nameless became infamous.
Coming out of turn number 4, can Matt Crafton hold on to win his first ever truck race? He will. Matt Crafton wins at Lowe's.
You talk about smile from ear to ear, and the tears starting to flow.
Perhaps the beginning of the next big thing.
Here he goes. He makes contact. David Starr keeps it straight as they come out of 4. Donnie Leah has the edge. Donnie Leah will win at Mansfield.
Look at this. It's a mob scene. I can't believe it. I got to thank all these guys, and I don't know what else to say, really. Oh, my God.
Finally, we can shut them up. Now they can say when's the second one coming.
Whose first victory lane is next?
Will the Monster Mile be the site of another first-time winner in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series? Welcome to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series AAA Insurance 200 on Speed. Hello, everyone. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip. Now, I think the big question today, Phil, is are tires going to be important at this racetrack?
Well, I think they're always important, but typically when you get to a racetrack here at Dover, you know, the tires wear out very quickly in the first practice. And then the tires get on the racetrack, you get rubber down, and you actually the tire wear gets better and better and better as the weekend goes on. But most of the crew chiefs and the drivers in the garage say this racetrack doesn't seem to be taking rubber like it has in the past. By now, the tire wear would already be a lot better, and they're saying they're not seeing that. NASCAR actually gave these teams an extra set of right side tires to practice on yesterday. So 5 sets of tires when they got here, plus that extra set of rights. They had to turn in that set and a half, 1 set of practice tires plus that other set of right side tires. So they should have 4 sets of tires for the you do the math, that's 50 laps per set of tires. They should be able to do that, but they're worried about this racetrack not taking rubber. If you get a caution with 25 laps into the race, they want to put tires on stretch the next run. So a lot of concern about the tires in the garage area, Mikey.
Yeah, and when I first went on the track today, I noticed that it was very, very white. No rubber on the track, which is a bit unusual. But when I rolled out for qualifying a little bit ago, the track had began to take rubber after the nationwide practice and during our qualifying. So I think now it starts to take it, that process will speed up in a hurry, and tire wear will not be an issue. Now, that means we're going to see some interesting strategy. People are going to try to save that last set of tires, maybe within the last 10, 20 laps, throw them on there and see what they can run to the finish with.
These pit stalls are also very small. Is that going to play into the strategy?
Well, it could, and Mike Skinner, by virtue of his pole, is going to pit stall. Right. But, you know, you have enough room in there, even though they're tight. You have enough room to get in and get your work done. And these guys won't be on pit road, you know, every 40 laps for 200 lap guys would be.
Boy, a gorgeous day. They're on the East Coast. 77 degrees. Forecast is for fair skies, which obviously you see the sun overhead. A light breeze, 12 miles per hour. A difficult racetrack to try to tame, though, as we look at the Optima batteries track description, Phil.
Yeah, 24-degree banking here. This is probably about as much fun as you can have at a racetrack. You can attack this racetrack, can't you, Mikey? But yet it has character, too. It's not really simple to drive, but you can have a lot of fun attacking this place.
What I love, both straightaways are 1,076 feet long, but they drive differently. Your truck gets tight off turn 2 more so than it does off 4, but it seems like you can run higher in turn 4 than you can 1 and 2. So the drivers have a whole lot of options. The guys will be right down on the bottom digging. You'll also see cats way up high racing hard too.
Take a look at the Royal Purple race analysis. 36 trucks will start. It's 200 miles on a mile racetrack, so 200 laps. $675,000 is the purse, Phil. Around 75 to 85 laps for that pit window.
Yeah, if this race goes green, but I don't know that we'll see that. We did have a long green flag run in this race last year, but most of the guys with 4 sets of tires in the pits, they would love to see that caution come out around 45 or 50 laps so they could come in. You know, if you're in a cup race here, you may come in every 20 laps to put tires on. These guys only have 4 sets of tires for this race, so they have to be a little judicious in their use.
And they will do that. All the drivers are strapped in. You see the officials and the teams have climbed over the wall on pit road. That means it's time to fire the engines. Let's go trackside for that command.
And here to set today's Craftsman Truck Series trucks into action is the Executive Vice President
treasurer, and CFO of AAA Mid-Atlantic, Mr. Bernie Kosh.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Bernie delivers the command. All the drivers strapped in. They've fired the engines. 36 trucks have come to life here at Dover International Speedway. We will be back for the green flag. Welcome back to Dover, Delaware. It's the AAA Insurance 200 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, race number 8. You want to take a look at the starting grid. It's going to roll across the bottom of the screen. And all Bill Davis front row once again. This is the second consecutive week. This time it's Mike Skinner that starts on the pole, and Johnny Benson will be on his outside. We want to shine a spotlight on a few different drivers. Ray Dunlap, who is in your speed spotlight today?
Well, Rick, this week I want to look at Ryan Seaman. He's from Toms River, New Jersey, and he loves Dover Raceway. He thinks this is the best track in the country. He's run in the Camping World East Series for the last couple of years. He won the Rookie of the Year award back in 2004, but he said his most important day is today because this is his first Craftsman Truck Series start at Dover, and this is one of his favorite tracks. He said today he wants to run 200 laps, and it'll be a successful day. Adam?
Jason White, a regular in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, driving the 08 truck, starts 25th today, Ray. He's 24th in the points, and he said his confidence is up higher than it's ever been. The reason why, 2 races ago at Kansas, he found himself running in the top 15 and recorded a 15th place finish. And last week, he was solid all day long at Mansfield, running 11th when they got involved in an incident with 2 laps to go. He feels good, and he hopes to gain more momentum here today at Dover. Phil Parsons?
Adam, I want to take a look at the 07 truck right there. That's 21-year-old Texas driver Ryan Lawler. He was making his 3rd start here in the Craftsman Truck Series this year. Going to run 7 races in order to maintain his rookie eligibility for possibly making a run for the rookie title next year. Anybody knows anything about short track racing knows that Winchester 400 is a huge deal, and he won that race last year. He was also the past champion in Texas area. Great late model short track driver Ryan Lawler, looking to get some super speedway experience here at Dover, driving for S&S Greenlight Racing. He will start 22nd. Rick, Mikey.
Let's go to Mike.
I'm going to ride along with Shelby Howard. Let's take a look at him. He's got a brand new sponsor on the side of that number 13 truck. He's qualified 13th, Phil. He's driving number 13. Could he be the first guy to take 13 to victory lane in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series? We'll see. A lot of confidence from that team. A couple weeks ago at Charlotte, they won. Last week at Mansfield, Shelby got his career best finish. So momentum's on their side. We'll see if he can roll off 13th and go win in that number 13.
Thank you, guys. Last week we showed a lot of great pictures from around the racetrack. We're also going to ride along with a few different drivers this week. Stacy Compton carries our Dodge onboard camera. He'll start in the 29th spot. Carrying our Lumber Liquidators camera, the Onion. He'll start 21st. Our Toyota onboard is riding along with Kyle Busch. He's going to give us some great pictures today. He starts toward the front in 3rd. And the Team ASE onboard camera is going to be carried by Ted Musgrave, and he'll start in the 9th spot. Want to go back trackside for our thoughts before green? Adam Alexander.
And we got to talk about Rick Crawford. You know, it's been a quiet year for him, but despite the fact no one seems to be bringing his name up, he's 2nd in the standings, only 8 points out of the lead. Now, he does not have a win in 2008, but perhaps that victory could come here today. And the reason why, his past success on concrete facilities, Dover being one of 3 on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series circuit. You see his average finish at Bristol and Nashville, top 10 in the Music City. And you see where his best finish is over the years. And despite these great numbers, he's never gone to victory lane on a concrete racetrack. Perhaps that could change here today. Crawford rolling from the 14th position. Ray?
Well, Adam, I certainly think tires could be a big issue today here at Dover. You know, we heard the guys in the booth talking about the corners here at this racetrack. They're not dark black like we normally see. They're actually very white. And these tires are putting off a little bit of a powdery substance. So the big question is, who's got stickers? Well, when you look down the top qualifiers here this weekend, you see that Skinner on the pole, Johnny Benson, and Kyle Busch, they all have 2 sets of stickers along with Scott Speed. But Ron Hornaday scuffed all of his tires. He doesn't have any stickers in the pits. Who's got the most? Well, the 11 truck of David Starr has the most stickers down here, and that could come to play in this race today. Sticker tires may be an advantage.
There you have it. Those are the final thoughts before we see our green flag. Tires could be an issue here tonight, boys.
And That's all going out of there. They don't even think about that right now. They're coming to the green flag at Dover International Speedway. One of the most action-packed, intense rides these guys are going to have all year long.
We saw a big wreck on the first lap here last year in this very race. Brendan Gaughan got taken out.
Yep. The pace truck is going to make its way onto pit road. That means Mike Skinner and Johnny Benson make their way to the green flag. It's in the air, and we are underway at Dover.
Well, now that was strange.
That was a bit of a ragged start right there.
Skinner took off way before he got up on the front straightaway. I don't know. I don't understand how that went down. You're supposed to wait till you get up on the front straightaway and let the flagman throw that green flag and then take off. He left a little early.
See a little side-by-side racing now. Skinner and that's Kyle Busch in the 51. Kyle Busch says, you know what, I'm going to lead this first lap here at Dover. And across the start-finish line he goes, and he will lead lap number 1.
And that's the cool thing about this place. Drove right up to the top, round the outside of the leader, and now Kyle Busch leads them down the back straightaway.
2 and 3 wide. We see Eric Darnell dropping back in the 99 in the side-by-side racing. Shane Sieg and that 30 of Todd Bodine.
Yeah, Terry Cook, the 60 Weiler.com Toyotas underneath Eric Darnell. Ooh. Looks like the 16 truck of Brian Scott has some damage to the front of that truck. That's him right there, middle of our screen, white and blue truck.
So Brian Scott in that Albertsons number 16 Chevy Silverado.
They got all wadded up there in turn 4, Phil. There, you see some damage a little bit.
A little bit, yeah, minor damage, yeah.
Matt Crafton was 4 wide up in the center of the corner.
Take another look.
Watch this out.
About a half a lap ago. We look down in the lower right corner.
He was trying to go
wide.
He thought 4 wide might be a good idea and changed his mind right quick.
We saw 3 wide for the finish of last week's race at Mansfield. Now let's look again at this start, Mikey.
Well, you're supposed to sort of hold them back, Phil. Hold them back till you get up on the front straightaway and the flagman throws that flag. But Mike left early. Johnny didn't expect it for sure, and Skinner drove off.
Yeah, NASCAR is saying that they threw the green flag when Mike Skinner jumped there. And that, to me, it was still early. You know, that's the restart point. That's not necessarily the start of the race point. And again, typically, you wait for the flagman to start the race. But NASCAR will caution you in the driver's meeting, do not beat that pole sitter to the line.
Well, the pole sitter wasn't going to be beat to that line. He was 3 or 4 truck lengths ahead of the outside pole guy when they came. Is anybody surprised that Kyle Busch is driving away from the field?
I know Richie Waters isn't, because I talked to him earlier today, and he said, you know what? He thinks this truck is perfect. He was driving right on the bottom of the racetrack, and he said he was the only one he thought that could stay on the bottom of the racetrack the entire run.
Well, we've heard Mike Skinner continue to say we want to log top 10s. We just want to be around at the end. His strategy might well be to lay there, let that 51 truck set the pace, and just run comfortably, keep that right front tire calm and cool on that truck, and be around at the end. That could be Skinner's strategy. I've seen him doing that more and more lately than ever before in his career.
And we know we're going to have some caution flags. So right now, if Kyle Busch jumps out and gets a 4, 5, 6 second lead, it's all going to be negated when we get a caution flag. Right now, his fastest lap of the race is a 1/4 of a second faster than the next guy's fastest lap of the race, which is Johnny Benson right now.
And that's a big. A 1/4 of a second's big.
That's huge.
And then the next that last time by, he was only a 1/10 and a half better. So they've cut into that deficit that he built on him early, and is starting to run. They're starting to run a little bit closer to him, but he's still the fastest truck.
See Johnny Benson falling back just a bit from his teammate Mike Skinner, and already Kyle Busch has caught the slower lap traffic out in front. So big separation between 1, 2, and 3 on the racetrack. And then as soon as there's a lot of separation at the front, there's a lot of nose to tail right here in the back of the pack.
Yeah, there's our lumber liquidators on board with Todd Bodine. Todd started all the way back in the 21st spot just a couple of moments ago. That's Chad Chaffin, former winner here at Dover, and the 40 truck. Watch Todd come off the corner here. Got just a little bit wide and a little bit of a wiggle there. No big deal.
Adam Alexander.
And Phil mentioned the fact that Todd Bodine started 21st, not the qualifying position he would have liked, but his comment after qualifying today, the truck was too loose, and they felt like that would be good, because once the rubber gets in the track here at Dover, it tends to tighten, and it must be early, because despite the fact that Bodine has moved up 5 positions, the word from him in the early going too tight, and you see here Travis Quapple going side by side with him for the 16th position.
You know, it drives you crazy, Rick. You battle a loose truck all through practice, and you go to qualify and your truck's loose, and you're thinking, man, this thing's going to be right when the race starts. You run 5 laps, and it's plowing already. You think, why did I have to suffer through practice sideways? I'm already out of control tight. It happens in a hurry here at Dover.
See a lot of wiggling now at a few of the trucks running a little bit higher lines around the racetrack.
Yeah, Todd's looking for grip right now. His truck is not handling. There's, you see our leader, Kyle Busch. He's opened up almost a 2.5-second lead on the second place truck of Mike Skinner.
Kyle Busch hanging right on the bottom of the racetrack here at Dover International Speedway. Mike Skinner, Johnny Benson, second and third. Then Scott Speed has broken into the top 4. He's running in the 4th spot. Ron Hornaday rounds out our top 5. They're spreading out here in the AAA Insurance 200. Welcome back to AAA Insurance 200, now being slowed because of our first caution on lap 15 of this 200-lap race. The 89 of Ryan Seaman gets turned around, and Mikey, I think he had some help.
Oh, John Wood ran up on him in a hurry. I was happened to be watching into turn 3. John closed 4 or 5 truck lengths, and when he got to him off 4, he didn't go up or down. He just went through.
Take another look. There's the 21 right behind that 89.
Spun him out. The 89, we commented during qualifying today, Phil, that's a nice looking truck. AAA Insurance might need to take a look at it now.
A lot of damage right now, but I tell you, you can see the banking on the straightaways here, both front and back side. Front side has a little more banking. There's after the initial contact from the 21 of John Wood, but if you spin out coming off turn 4 there, it's almost impossible to keep that thing out of the inside wall.
The only time I've seen it not wrecked was Jimmy Johnson qualifying a couple of years ago, spun out and spun all the way down the front straightaway, never hit a thing. Donnie Lee is on pit road. What's going on?
Indeed he is. Tight, the early word for Donnie Lee, last week's winner, 4 tires, fuel, and an adjustment. And Todd Bodine also going to make his way down the pit lane. He too tight in the early going. These guys making their first pit stops of the day at lap 15.
Adam, both of them had, it looked like, scratches on the right side of the truck. I mean, are they hitting the wall already?
Definitely. That tight condition that we're talking about, Rick, when you're exiting both turns 2 and 4, it's just a battle to keep the thing off the wall, and Donnie wasn't able to keep it off one time, it looks like. That's not much damage, though. I think the truck will be fine. They went to work on the left side as well.
Pulling the fender out on the left side as well, so maybe a little contact on the racetrack with another truck. You see that right side flat-sided. This is how that happened.
That's the truck on the outside. He's on the outside of that green truck and just comes off the corner. Ooh, makes a little contact both with a wall on the outside.
Justin
and that green truck of Justin Marks, the 9 on the inside.
It just happens that quick. You know, you come off the turn and you feel like you've got it under control, and it just hops out into that wall. Phil, we talked about this track, not taking the rubber. From this angle, you can already see how dark the groove is getting. It happens in a hurry once it starts to happen. There's a lot of concern because after a day and a half of practice, they didn't see a whole lot of that dark colored racetrack. But now the track's taking rubber in a hurry.
And that's going to widen out too, because we saw Kyle Busch take the lead on the initial start of the race on the first lap, and he did it by going on the high side.
You can tell there how dark the groove is getting.
It wasn't quite wide enough for
yeah, for
Donnie Leah. Donnie Leah coming off turn 2 there.
Donnie Leah has brushed the wall, and we saw that. And we've also seen a brush with the wall of Todd Bodine early on in this one. We'll be back with more. This summer, comedian Alonzo Bowden takes you on an automotive adventure. Now, don't miss out on this experience and the fun of getting behind the wheel of 101 cars you must drive. The network series premiere June 23rd. It's exclusively on Speed. You won't want to miss it. 101 cars that you must drive.
Mikey, what was your favorite car you ever drove on the highway?
I had an 1981 Z28 when I was 17 or 18, and I loved it. And it was a really, really nice muscle car, and so that would be my definite favorite.
Adam Alexander, what's 100? Well, how about one truck you'd like to talk about?
And how about the 71 of Donnie Leah? You guys were talking about the damage on the right side of his truck, and well, the issue for him was, he said, I killed it on the first lap, referring to bouncing it off the wall. He was able to come down pit road, as you guys saw, got 4 tires, fuel, and an adjustment. Perhaps that will help him as this race continues. Ray?
And a little bit of an overheating problem for the 7, his teammate, that would be Andy Lally. He started 31st. He's at the very back of the field right now. They came down on that lap 15 pit stop to take a look, lifted the hood, looked underneath, did a little bit of work, and they're hoping that that thing cools down a little bit for Andy.
Yeah, that's a backup truck for Andy Lally, and they really didn't have that good an idea on what to do for tape. You see Ron Hornaday try to make a move on the outside of Scott Speed. Now he's going to switch over to the inside to take over the 4th spot.
Trying to take it away from Scott Speed. Not going to be able to make the move. So he tucks back in behind Scott Speed as they both get up to speed. Kyle Busch, the man out in front. Mike Skinner runs 2nd. Johnny Benson in 3rd.
Scott Speed kept that position very aggressively.
He did. He actually took the
squeeze down.
A little bit of room that Ron thought he had. It evaporated.
And he's driven away from Ron, so he took advantage of Ron not hooking him in the left rear when he came across the nose of him.
You know, we talked about it earlier today during our qualifying show that Scott Speed has so little experience in any type of a stock car or stock truck. You see Justin Marks slowing on the racetrack. I wonder if maybe he got up a little bit too high and maybe slapped that wall. But Scott Speed has been very impressive, whether it be an ARCA Remax car or a Craftsman truck. He has been extremely good and really a quick learner.
Right.
Check this out. Ted Musgrave just nudges Justin Marks up the hill a little bit and then nudges him a little bit more.
Well, Justin came down. He was going to dime in the racetrack, which means he lets the car drift up, or truck drift up a little bit in the center of the corner.
He should have felt.
He opens a hole. He opens a hole right there.
He should have felt Ted on the entry. Ted just barely nicked him, but Justin decided to take the corner away from Ted. These guys aren't going to put up with that. They're not going to let you drive into their line and there not be contact, and I think Justin's well aware of that now.
And diamonding the racetrack, as you see trucks 3 wide for just a moment. There's Thabo Dine right there, Lumber Liquidators Toyota. Remember, he made a pit stop as well as a number of other trucks. But if you're going to diamond that corner, and a lot of people can make good time doing it, but you can't do it if you've got somebody on your tailgate here, because they will close that hole up on the inside.
Right now starting to shake out a bit as we see Brian Scott way up on the top of the racetrack, hearing he may have a flat tire. Ray Dunlap, is that accurate?
Yeah, it's right front tire going down on that Albertson Chevrolet, and he had to slow up, let the group go by him as he went into turn 1. He'll try to get down pit road this time by.
It may have something to do with the fact that he has been against the wall as well. You see him flat side the
Whoa, he's going to be
there.
speeding on pit road here. You got to get woed down. Looks like he might have got it down to pit road speed, but more problems than that.
Yeah,
just
look at all the damage on that Albertson Chevrolet right there. There's Travis Quapple, the Zaxby's Ford going by that 9 Germain Toyota.
Right behind him, you see Terry Cook in the 60, trying to get up behind the 9 of Justin Marks.
It's a battle for the 13th position right there. Travis Quapple now has 13.
There's battles all over this racetrack.
One guy who's running away once again, Kyle Busch, has a 2.5 lead over Mike Skinner. He did it at the beginning of this race. He pulled away out in front of these guys, and then he's been able to do it again since the restart. Now, Mikey, you're thinking that Mike Skinner is maybe just not taking it easy, but he's not pushing the limit right now?
Well, we've certainly heard that type of talk from Mike, more so lately than ever. Just get me a solid top 10. I want to get back in this points battle. So he's certainly not going to bust rear end right now to go up there and match the pace that Kyle is setting. Now, a year ago he would have, and maybe it's just talk.
Well, maybe 2 years ago. Maybe 2 years ago he would have. Last year he had such a great season, and led the point standings early on, and then he finally got into a seesaw battle with Ron Hornaday. Ron was able to win the championship on the last day of the season, but nonetheless a terrific season last year for Mike Skinner. You see his teammate Johnny Benson hanging right with him there.
Yeah. Maybe he learned a lot, saw how effective his strategy was last year, and is doing the same thing again this year. Had a lot of tough luck early in the season, but he's certainly been steady.
As good as Mike Skinner was a year ago as far as being dominant and winning races on the racetrack, Kyle Busch has been that dominant one in the Truck Series already this season. Ray Dunlap.
Well, and Rick, we've talked a number of times about this particular chassis he's driving. It's truck number 11. It's Kyle's favorite. He's won 7 of his 8 races in this very same truck. Now, they're coil binding only on the left front spring today here at Dover. And Richie Waters told him, his crew chief, back off a little bit. You got plenty of a lead right now. He said, I'm a little bit worried that you're stressing that right front tire out too much. Kyle said, I've got a good feel for the truck right now. Don't worry. I'm not running it too hard.
I think he's backing off. He only passed 2 trucks that corner. I mean, he's taking it easy.
He looks like he's backing off as he passes one truck to the inside, another truck to the outside. A Sunday drive for Kyle Busch on Friday night here in Dover. We'll be back with more of the AAA Insurance 200 after this. Kyle Busch has moved his lead from 1.5 seconds to 2.5 seconds over Mike Skinner. There's the difference between the two, and then you see third place Johnny Benson right back behind Mike Skinner.
Ron Hornaday has taken over the 4th position from Scott Speed, so Ron is on the move right now. Ran the exact same lap time that lap that our leader did, Kyle Busch.
Again, Bill Davis Racing started on the front row. Mike Skinner, Johnny Benson. It didn't take a lap for Kyle Busch to get by Mike Skinner.
Check out this guy, Rick. Ty Bodine pitted back on lap 15 and has taken to that high side. He's driving around everyone he catches on the top and is running a really fast pace. Plus, he's got that 15 laps in the bank right now that these other guys don't have. Be interesting to see what Todd does if the caution were to fall down, because you know the leaders are coming at this point.
You know, and this is one of the teams that really makes some tremendous adjustments during the race. They may be off when the race starts, but they do some miracles on pit road. Mike Hillman Sr. and Jr.
Right.
They really make this truck better and better and better.
Adam Alexander.
Follow up on what you guys are talking about with Todd Bodine. He actually restarted in the 25th position, and as you guys pointed out, has worked his way into the top 15. And I asked Mike Hillman Sr., I said, was the truck so tight that you had to pit, or was that a strategy move? And he said the truck was actually that tight. And really, from a track position standpoint, they've not lost much, because already in a handful of laps, they're back in front of where they were a moment ago, right?
I'll tell you what, Adam, yesterday in practice right here at Dover, Kyle Busch did an unbelievable job of saving this truck. They had a power steering unit blow a seal out. All of the fluid came out and got on the rear tires, and Kyle said it felt like somebody reached in and grabbed a hold of the steering wheel right in the center of the corner and wouldn't let him turn it. Any other driver very well may have crashed that truck. Kyle was able to hold on to it and get it back in for them to make the repairs. It was really an incredible job that he did, and right now he's continuing to work some lap traffic here on the Monster Mile.
There are races where we have seen Kyle Busch look so loose that we would say any other driver would be wrecking, but he says the truck's great.
Yeah, well, he's got it going on right now. There's no question about it. No matter what series, whether he's in a Sprint Cup car, on a nationwide car, it gets in this truck, he can win and runs up front and everything. He's led the most laps in the Truck Series this year. He's led the most laps in the Nationwide Series this year, and he's second in laps led in the Sprint Cup Series this year.
He's having a good year.
I think that was well put. He is having a very, very good year.
Well, that's what I was trying to say, and Mikey just kind of deciphered that.
I believe he summed it up.
Dissimulated that information and
well,
put it succinctly.
I think everybody has done, everybody covering the races has done a nice job of giving Kyle, a lot of credit. He's certainly on the gas. You look at Scott Speed, though. This is all new to him. He's sitting there running in the top 5 in this Truck Series. He's got good equipment. Bill Davis gives him a truck he can go hammer with. Kyle is awesome, talented, but he's in great equipment, and he's able to take advantage of that.
Adam Alexander, what's happening with Scott?
Well, I think one of the reasons he's taken to the Truck Series so quickly is because the guy on the spotter stand is Slugger Labby. Slugger, as Sprint Cup Series fans will know, was a longtime crew chief in the Cup Series, and he's really done a nice job of helping Scott being much more than a spotter. And a perfect example of that, earlier Scott said the truck is going loose. Slugger replied back, that's because you're starting to lose the right rear tire. Just be patient. As you saw Ron Hornaday go by Johnny Benson on track.
Took third away from Johnny Benson, so Hornaday moving up. We see that 22 of Scott Speed trying to follow in the tracks of the 23 of Johnny Benson.
Got a rubber in the right rear now.
Johnny's talking. You see right now he gets a run on him. Johnny was lapping the Andy Lally truck, the 7 truck. Ron gets a good run coming off of the corner, going to take advantage of that, gets the momentum, going to drive down to the bottom. Johnny knows he's there. He's a veteran driver. His spotters are going to tell him he's there as well.
His spotter was on the microphone, on the radio right then, saying you're inside. You got one inside of you. You know, you have to know what's going on around you. Spotters help you do that a lot. These trucks and cars alike, the seats are so cumbersome. You've got all this protective gear around your head. It's really difficult to see, and you rely heavily on the spotter fodder to let you know what's going on.
Ray Dunlap, what are you seeing down there?
Well, Rick, if you're a Johnny Benson fan, get your notepad out. You need to write a couple things down. Number one, next time they come back to Dover, he wants a faster steering box. He said he doesn't think what they have in the truck is accurate for this tire. Number two, the truck is getting a little bit hot right now. They told him, make sure you don't tuck up behind anybody. Get clean air on the nose. And number three, he's starting to wear out the right rear. He said, we need to pit really soon. By lap 50, he says he feels like that right rear is going to be gone.
You know what Ray's talking about with a faster steering box? It's the ratio. Most of the guys here will have either a 12-to-1 or a 14-to-1 box. More than likely, Johnny probably has a 14-to-1 box, which means he physically has to turn the steering wheel farther than somebody with a 12-to-1 box. And that's what I would say as you see Ron Hornaday going to drive by Mike Skinner on the inside to take over the second spot. Johnny's wanting probably a 12-to-1, and he's got a 14-to-1 in that truck.
And I've noticed with this tire and with our cars of tomorrow that we drive on Sunday, everywhere you go, a little bit faster box is a better deal. And Johnny's probably thinking, I need to move down to that 12-to-1 box. You know, a lot of times, Phil, you come here and you're successful with a 14-to-1, you want to come back just like that. He's giving the crew information now saying, I've changed my mind. We need to quicken this box up a little bit.
So Johnny Benson's making the comment he thinks the right rear tire might be going out faster than what the fuel is running out. We know they can go anywhere from 75 to 85 laps on fuel, and Johnny Benson is saying that right rear tire might not make it 75 or 85 laps. Kyle Busch, though, hasn't had anyone contest him for the lead up to this point, but Ron Hornaday is the man on the move. Welcome back. Brian Scott just got into the inside wall, and he hit that thing hard.
You can see the damage. See the damage to the inside of the Albertson's truck. He's already been into the outside wall.
Almost got it straightened up, Rick, coming off turn 4 and just ran out of room. Never spun out, just got sideways and went down and hit that inside wall, like you said, very hard. And that's not a safer barrier down there either. That's the real deal.
See, the right rear tire is sticking out from the right rear quarter panel. That means he's
headed up the hill. Somebody grab a set of tires.
He's bent trailing arms, rear and housing. A lot of damage to that Chevrolet truck right there.
He might have gotten in the outside wall again and pulled off the outside wall. Oh no, he got into another truck. A little bit of a
look
contact
at this
there with.
Oh
yeah, look,
man,
it bent
busted
the wall.
Busted the wall where he hit it.
I think that's a boilerplate, isn't it, Phil?
I think it is. Yeah.
It just bent it.
Look at that, where the dirt actually flew underneath that wall when he hit it, and he hit hard.
It looked like he was racing up under Shelby Howard off of 4 and got a little bit tight. I think the leaders were right behind him, weren't they?
There's Kyle right there. You see Brian on the inside and just loses the front end a little bit, tries to stay off of Shelby Howard and lost control. And you know, if he would have had more room and this would have been a lot wider apron of the racetrack, he probably would have saved that truck, but you don't have that option here at Dover.
You can see him push up, get into the left side of Shelby Howard, and the thing just turns sideways.
Go high.
Kyle never lifted. He thought that looked like a pretty safe place to be, going fast up top. Here come the leaders.
Kyle Busch onto pit road. Let's go down to Adam Alexander.
And we will start our pit coverage with Scott Speed. First pit stops of the day for all these guys coming at lap 52. Scott said the truck was getting loose. Doug Walcott said, tell me about it. He said, I want no changes. It will be 4 tires and fuel. He started in the top 5. He has stayed there. Not bad for a guy making his first start at Dover. Ray?
The Mikosuke Toyota is pretty good for Kyle Busch. We've been able to see that throughout the course of the day, but they did want to drop the track bar 1 round. Crew comes around. They're going to put 4 tires on this thing on the number 51. Meanwhile, down the other end of the track, the 33 of Ron Hornaday is in. He said it's a little bit tight, and he feels like he ran the right front tire off. Kyle Busch came in first. He'll go out first. Ron Hornaday came in second. He'll go out third.
Johnny Benson gets by him. Jack Sprague comes out right behind that 33.
You know, we've talked a lot about trucks getting tight here. This is what happens to Brian Scott. He got tight up under Shelby Howard and tried to keep it off of him, turned it harder to the left, got a little bit loose, and shot him down into that inside wall. And man, did he hit it.
Yes, boy, he really did. But the wall gave, though. It's not a safer barrier, but at least it gave a little bit. Another view from the flag stand right there.
And there's a look at that wall. Are they going to bring like a tow truck or something and try to push that back out, or will they leave it the way it is?
Well, the officials will look at that and determine if there's not any integral damage to that. Then they may just leave it like it is. They may bring a broom out and sweep up where that dirt is. We see the 71 of Donnie Leah right through there, as well as the 4 of Stacy Compton. There's the 7 of Andy Lally.
If you ever wonder how hard this sport is, he won last week, and we're not even just 50 laps into the race this week, and he's a lap down. It's very humbling. Here comes the 5 back to pit road.
Yep, 4th of the way through the race, and already Donnie Leah back on pit road. Now we're also seeing Mike Skinner coming back onto pit road.
We're also hearing that the 8 truck of Chad McCumbee will have to come back down pit road with a missing lug nut.
Following Mike Skinner, let's go down to Ray Dunlap.
Skinner's is not for a penalty. The problem was they came in and pitted that last time by, and their air hose broke, so they weren't able to complete the service. So Skinner will have to come back, as they had to take a little time out to get their equipment straightened out, and they'll work on those the left side of that race truck. They're going to put tires on the left front, and then they're also going to put some more fuel in it.
That's going to really kill his track position, though. He was running up in the top 5, and Mike Skinner will
adjustments, everything good?
Restart this race at the tail end of the teens. Probably have about 19 trucks right now on the lead lap, Adam.
And one of those will be Jack Sprague, who's lined up in the 4th position, started 6th and stayed there throughout that first run. Said it was a bit tight. They came in 4 tires fuel, a little bit of air pressure by Ernie Cope and the guys, and they felt very good about that first stop because he picked up 2 positions. And Michael and Phil, you guys know this, the best place to pass for a driver, right here on pit road.
Unfortunately for Mike Skinner on pit road early having problems, you can overcome that. Yeah. That happens with 30 or 40 to go, your day's done. But he's in a position now, he's got 3/4 of a race to get that back.
Landon Castle got the Aaron's lucky dog, so he gets a lap back. Take another look at what happened here with Brian Scott. Real time.
Just on the inside of Shelby Howard, and he does a nice job of getting that truck turned right at the wall. He would have made some hard contact at a bad angle.
Well, he was driving it all the way till it made contact, and that's why he was able to keep it going in the right direction.
Single file restart when we come back to Dover. In July, it's the Network Series premiere of Wrecked, Life in the Crash Lane. You can ride with Chicago's toughest family of towers. Discover the untold side of the business of towing and get hooked on Wrecked. Series premiere July 17th exclusively on Speed as they continue cleanup here at Dover. The second caution coming out as Brian Scott got into the inside wall right there along pit road, and hard contact. It has been all Kyle Busch to start this race.
There's Stacy Compton with his Dodge on board right there. Stacy right now is being shown in the 24th position. He is 1 lap down.
That Team ASE on board, carried by Ted Musgrave. Musgrave running 8th.
Ted had a great truck in practice. A lot of the teams in the garage area said Ted had one of the best trucks yesterday in practice. All the practice was done for the truck race yesterday. Right. They qualified today, but they did both their practice sessions on Thursday.
Lumber Liquidators on board, showing us Todd Bodine, and we also ride along with our race leader Kyle Busch, and that Toyota on board. He's been so good this entire season, and now looking extremely strong once again at this racetrack.
Way strong.
So Kyle Busch will lead the field to the green flag. Currently 19 trucks still on the lead lap, and right now it's Mike Skinner who has scored in that 19th spot at the back of the lead lap trucks. All of them following Kyle Busch as he comes out of turn 4. Green flag back in the air.
With all the lap trucks down on the bottom of the race. Ooh,
a little loose there for the 15, Shane Seed.
Yeah, that's a teammate to our leader, Kyle Busch.
First 3 trucks clear lap traffic and see if they can keep the pace that Kyle Busch has set.
Remember, Hornaday was on the move there. He made his way from 5th all the way to 2nd prior to the caution flag.
And there wasn't a whole lot I don't think they could have done to that 51 truck. It was already perfect.
They said it was a minor chassis adjustment, but my goodness, he was pulling away from everyone.
A little track bar adjustment, but if you're running 2nd on back, you know you got to work on your stuff. Be interesting to see if Ron and Johnny and Jack, those guys, have made adjustments that will allow them to close the gap.
There's a battle for 5th right there. There's Scott Speed, the 22. He's going to drift up the hill a little bit. Matt's going to try to get in that hole down there. He is going to be able to get side by side with him.
Brian Scott has been released from the infield care center, so that's good to hear. He was involved in our most recent caution hitting the inside wall.
Scott goes way up the hill there. That truck obviously is not what it was prior to the pit stop.
Well, he didn't want any changes to that truck either when he came onto pit road.
Donnie Leah is going to go around the outside of the 09 of Travis Quample. Nice move there by Donnie Leah.
He's a couple of spots behind Brendan Gaughan, and Brendan Gaughan is currently running in the 20th spot, 1 lap down. If the caution flies, he's our Aaron's lucky dog. So these guys, Donnie Leah, Shane Sieg, and Brendan are going to race hard to make sure they get that lucky dog.
A couple teammates right there. The 18 of Dennis Setzer on the inside, the 4 of Stacy Compton. Both of those trucks are 1 lap down. There's Mike Skinner going to move by the 60 of Terry Cook. Ray, what's going on with tires down there on that pit stop?
Well, Phil, they came in at lap 50, and we haven't seen any tire wear down here. If I'll show you a tire that just came off one of these trucks, you'll notice the wear indicators right here all the way across. Real nice and smooth. No big problem. We don't see any cording on either the inside or the outside edge of any of the right fronts. So I think everything's good. I think Michael might have been right on that this track just needed to get a little bit of rubber. And you can see it's got a little bit of dust on it right here, but no wear. Everything looks good.
How about that right rear tire of Johnny Benson, Ray? Johnny was worried about wearing that right rear tire. It felt like it was going away on him.
We will definitely check on that, Phil. I'll have to run down there to JB's pit and see how that one looks. I heard Mike Skinner and Jeff Hensley talking about they had one little spot on the right front, so we'll give you an update.
And again, the right front, obviously, if you've got a tight truck, that one's going to wear a little bit more. If you've got a loose truck, your right rear is going to heat up a little bit more. And you have contact. Problem. Andy Lally gets turned around. Rick Crawford goes on the high side.
Andy doesn't look
good save. That was a great save down there. Fortunately for Andy, it was in the center of the corner. There's Jason White. He got a little piece of that on the inside. Oh, they're still wrecking. There's Brendan Gaughan.
Brendan Gaughan just got into the wall.
That's tore up.
And that was awfully late after the caution flag was out.
And in the opposite end of the track, and Brendan's not too happy.
We're going to have to find out what just took place there, because Andy Lally was spinning on one end of the racetrack.
Not even shaking that much. I didn't lock up until the last minute there.
That's Andy Lally talking, telling him that he didn't lock up. But darn, I believe I need to have 4 tires. There was smoke everywhere.
Sure was. There was obviously contact from the 14 of Rick Crawford. Remember, Andy's being shown 1 lap down. You see Rick's on the inside.
Rick just gets a little bit loose on entry, slides up the hill.
Yeah, Andy gave him some room, but Rick had to move up the hill to catch that truck. He made a little bit of contact.
Look at Jason White.
Wow, that was close.
He barely snuck by. Great job by Andy and by Jason White.
There's another view right there. He just made the slightest bit of contact. You see, watch his hands. You see him crank that thing all the way to the right.
Yeah, and Skinner got in the back of Crawford as part of that chain reaction. Look at Jason White down there in the dirt. He keeps his going straight as well.
Just a slight bit of contact from the 7 of Andy Lally. It turned Jason sideways, and he was able to save that truck.
You can see Rick sliding up the hill. Just can't turn the wheel. You get on the inside of another truck, and it's loose, and he just couldn't turn to the left and made contact with the Lally truck.
Adam Alexander.
And a tough break for Rick Crawford. This team very confident about the piece they brought here today. And similar to last year, they were running in the top 5 and had an incident. They were starting to have the truck come to them. And once again, a problem on track for Rick Crawford. Good news is today, still plenty of time to rally back, Ray.
Adam Skinner is back in here as they take a look at the nose on the front of his Toyota Tundra. He was right into the back of the 14 of Rick Crawford, and you can see just above the top of the bumper there's damage. It's been pushed in, so the crew is going to work on that, put some bear bond on, try to straighten that out, give him the best aerodynamics he can on the nose of his number 5 truck.
Now Rick Crawford's teammate Brendan Gaughan, we see all the work being done here. This took place on the other side of the racetrack.
Yeah, he got down into turn 3, and it looks like a replay of what happened down in turn 1.
Exactly. Shane Sieg, the 15 on the inside, gets loose.
Man, Brendan slid a long way before he finally lost control and got the back of that truck into the outside wall.
Say, at that point, Brendan said, I've got it saved. I think I'm home free. And the thing swapped ends on him and went back up to the outside wall. There's the contact right there. Brendan does a nice job keeping it out of the outside wall initially. But then, unfortunately, when the thing was almost straight, then it switches around and goes back and spins the other way into the outside wall.
And there's the damage. The max force, number 10 of Brendan Gaughan. So they've been onto pit road. They've tried to straighten it out a bit. I'm sure he will be back on pit road. They'll do some more work to that number 10 to get him back on the racetrack. We'll be back with more from Dover. Welcome back to the AAA Insurance 200 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series from Dover International Speedway in Dover, Delaware. Two incidents taking place almost simultaneously on the racetrack to bring out our third caution of the day. On one end, it was Andy Lally who got turned around, didn't get into the wall. On the other end, it was Brendan Gaughan who got turned around and did make contact with the wall.
You know, they were racing to be the lucky dog. I'm not sure that the caution came out on the initial incident, so they were still racing. And that's they were racing for that top position, being one lap down, and unfortunately Shane made some contact.
We're back to racing here as Kyle Busch gets a good restart on Johnny Benson. Ron Hornaday runs third, Jack Sprague fourth, Matt Crafton the top 5.
Kyle has not been challenged one bit, Rick. He just takes off on those restarts and
checks out,
just separates himself.
And again, they made a slight adjustment to his truck when he was on pit road.
We know for now that the adjustment is okay for the short haul. We'll have to see how it works out after they run 10 or 15 laps, but it appears for now he made a good adjustment.
Racing for that lucky dog, Donnie Leah, Shane Sieg, Ryan Lawler.
Mike Skinner, you see, went to the back, got some damage in that wreck with Rick Crawford running the back of him, so he's a little bit tense. This is pretty heavy stuff right here, Phil.
Yeah, there's Todd Bodine. He made a pit stop on this most recent caution. These guys are running 15th. Skinner's in 15th. Todd's in 16th. Have all the lap trucks on the inside. There's Jason White, the gunbrokers.com Dodge right there on the inside.
Skinner all the way down on the bottom of the racetrack. You see Chad Chaffin in that 40. The black tailgate moving up the racetrack. Matt Crafton to the inside of Jack Sprague here.
That's a battle for the 4th position. Jack came off pit road with 4th. Now Matt Crafton's going to take it away.
His solid season continues. He races up to the 4th spot. I like the way that truck's working, Phil. Look at him. He's able to keep it right down on the bottom.
And here's Skinner and Bodine continue to work through the slower trucks on the track. Scott Speed just in front of this Team ASE onboard, Ted Musgrave.
Yeah, Ted's trying to take over the 6th position from Scott Speed. Scott doesn't appear to be as good as he was prior to that first pit stop. I'm sure Doug Wilcott and the guys will tune that Red Bull Toyota up here on this next pit stop.
You know, our second caution of the day came out on lap 51. It was when Brian Scott got into the inside wall. Adam, I believe you caught up with him.
Yeah, and it was a hard hit for Brian Scott earlier. The good news is you look fine. What happened on the racetrack, Brian?
I guess this weekend just wasn't our week. Race started off and lost communication with the spotter. Had a right front go out. Had to come into a green flag pit stop. And then just racing and trying to get positions up. Didn't even know how many laps down we were. Just working up through there, taking what we could get. And coming out of 4, just had a run on Shelby, and just right as you kind of lose the banking and transition there, I guess kind of at that same time I got just close enough to lose my right side air, and it was just kind of two bad things coming together at once, and I don't know, I guess I wasn't on top of it enough to stave it.
Tough break for Brian Scott. Good news is he's okay as the crew continues to work on this race truck.
Very big hit for Brian Scott, and that's great to see him. Obviously they're watching his team work on that truck, see if they can get him back on the racetrack.
You know, a lot of times, Phil, you're out there and you're so intense, you get in a crash and you're thinking, okay, what did I just do? What happened? And Brian had a good grasp of what went on. He lost air, he said, off the right side of his truck, which made him push up, and then all of a sudden he's crashed. So that'll keep him from making that mistake again. He already realizes exactly what he did wrong, and that'll make him better next time.
Got a battle for 15th right here. There's Todd Bodine, the Lumber Liquidators Toyota, on board chasing the 99 of Eric Darnell. You know, we talk about it so often here. When you get in trouble like Brian did coming off the corner, it really starts back in the center of the point.
That's Todd Bodine.
And you can see Mike Skinner, the second truck up ahead. Those two are right together fighting through that traffic. Mike's been able to drive away, so Todd is not happy at all with the way his truck's handling.
Yeah, he just said that the right front tire feels like it never grips. So right now he obviously has a tight condition, which he has had since the very beginning of this race.
There's Johnny Benson currently holding on to that second spot, but he's about 1.1 seconds behind Kyle Busch. Right on lap.
Well, Rick, I got to look at those tires that came off of JB's Toyota, and everything looked just fine on the tires, but there is a little bit of a problem. On the pit stop, they only got 1 can of gas in, so the second can should have gone at least halfway down. We were at lap 50 whenever they put fuel in these trucks, so JB will be short on fuel if this thing were to go green. You know, these guys could probably go to lap 120 or 125, but Johnny Benson may not be able to make it that far.
And that won't hurt him if he can make a green flag pit stop and the caution not come out before everybody else has to make a green flag pit stop. But remember, several of these trucks, Todd Bodine, Mike Skinner being 2 of them, pitted about 13 laps after the majority of the field pitted back on lap number 52. So a lot of these trucks have 13 more laps. So that's another thing that Johnny's going to have to worry about if this race goes green and he makes a green flag pit stop.
And you got to, the race has had a green flag feel. You know, there's intense action, but when you can race up high and down low, everybody's not battling for that one piece of real estate. So you see a lot of green flag, a lot of passing, a lot of action, and a lot of green flag racing.
Seeing Kyle Busch move up the racetrack just a bit higher than he's been running. He had been running right on the bottom of the track. Looks as though maybe he's having to go to a little bit of a diamond effort for the 51 as well, as we've seen most of the trucks on the track.
At least second and third are in the same straightaway with him anyway this time.
Johnny Benson, Ron Hornaday second and third, Craftsman is fourth, Jack Sprague is your top 5. Kyle Busch with a 2.5 over second. Kyle Busch still out in front, but it is Ron Hornaday who's closing the gap on Kyle Busch. He's able to make the pass on Johnny Benson and move up to second.
And Ron Hornaday continues to run faster laps than does our leader Kyle Busch, and he's opened up over a 2-second cushion on the third place truck of Johnny Benson, who he passed just a few laps ago.
Kyle's led. Oh, is it getting inside? Get a little loose.
You see his hands inside that truck?
You know, we heard him talk about going down on the track mark. That would tighten that truck up more than it was before they pitted. But it looked like there, I noticed just watching the last few laps, he's really yawed out. The back side of that truck's hanging out further than the front side. That time it got sideways.
Ray Dunlap.
Guys, you know, Kyle loves to drive a loose racetrack. Richie Waters was telling me he absolutely hates to be tight, so they've got him set up that way. But Kyle said on the radio about 5 laps ago that coming off of turn 4 especially, he's about a 6 loose, and that might be just a little bit too much.
Look at the smoke rolling out of the 51 of Kyle Busch. Power steering again. Now they had problems with power steering in practice, and it looks as though they're going to have the same problem now. Unbelievable turn of events for Kyle Busch.
That's what it smells like anyway.
Caution's out.
We're gonna have to come. We're gonna have to pop the hood. You're gonna have to look at everything.
They're black flagging Kyle Busch.
Huh. I guess the caution isn't out. I thought I saw the lights flicker.
We heard Kyle say we're going to have to come. You're going to have to open the hood and look at everything.
Kyle is getting the cautions out.
There's the caution. Kyle was looking forward. And this could be obviously for fuel or fluid on the racetrack. They might be checking to see if there's anything on the track.
But a huge break for Kyle, because he is going to have to come down pit road. They're going to have to look at that truck. You see Richie Waters right there as crew chief. They had a power steering problem yesterday. Ray was talking about. Obviously, Kyle feels as though it's got the same situation right now.
NASCAR told him 2 laps ago, you need to get that truck on the apron. Ray Dunlap.
And guys, remember, he had the same problem in his Sprint Cup car at Bristol. So this is possibly 3 times in a row a power steering issue. Yesterday, as we looked at the box all over, and it did not look like it blew the seal completely off, but somehow the fluid did get out. These guys are going to take a look at it this time. The caution, a lucky break for Kyle, even though he brought it out. This will give them a chance to see if it's something they can repair on that Mikasuki Toyota.
You know, the power steering system doesn't hold all that much fluid. We've seen a lot of smoke. It may be a small drip. Obviously, a little fluid can make a lot of smoke, but the reservoir in the box itself really doesn't have that much fluid.
Do 4 tires first, Kyle, then come back and look at it.
You know, and if you think about
They're not going to let us leave, Richie. Hey, let's look at it first. No tires. Open the hood. Open the hood.
And on pit road is Matt Crafton. He has rallied from a 16th starting position up into the top 5. They picked up 3 positions on their first stop of the day. He said, help me in, I'm good. All 4 tires and fuel, the word for Crafton on this pit stop at lap 96. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Ron Hornaday said his truck is very good whenever he leaves it alone. He said especially if he can get clean air on it, it's okay. They don't want to make any chassis adjustments. A little bit of a hold up on the left rear there. Looks like Hornaday is going to be the first off of pit road.
Hornaday wins the race off of pit road. The big question is the 51 race leader with problems with power steering.
Did you notice what Kyle said when Richie said, let's change 4 tires and we'll come back and look at it? Kyle very calmly said, they're not going to let us go back out, Richie. So then Richie changed the call, said, hey, let's check the power steering over, then we'll come back and get the 4 tires. So what a heads-up move by Kyle. He's doing a whole lot more than just wheeling that thing. He's thinking, too.
Well, and, you know, they've had some power steering trouble, so he thinks that's what it is, but they need to get under there and look and make sure of what is going on up under the hood of the truck.
Let's go to the garage. We're going to have to put a tranny in it.
Yeah, it's a transmission. You know, you can't just have power steering failure after power steering failure after power. When your brain tells you we've had power steering trouble before, it's got to be power steering again. But in this case, he's backing down pit road, which is not the best decision, I don't think.
Especially with all the lap down trucks coming down.
Ooh! Wow, very close for Justin Marks.
That was a good move by Justin. He had to get in his box.
Kyle Busch continuing to try to get to the opening, which he needs to go a couple more spots back to get to that opening. Now he'll go forward and right through the opening up into the garage area.
I was going to be surprised if they could have kept having the same problem over and over
again.
And they've decided it's a transmission leak or issue that they have.
So Kyle Busch doesn't look like he will win at Dover today. He relinquishes the top spot to Ron Hornaday. Matt Crafton, Jack Sprague, Johnny Benson, and Mike Skinner, your top 5. Green flag back out here at Dover. It's Ron Hornaday in front of Matt Crafton. Those 2 trucks have been very strong today. They've been shadowed by the 51 of Kyle Busch all day, as strong as that truck was. Now with him in the garage, let's see how well Ron Hornaday and Matt Crafton do as far as shining on the racetrack.
Well, Matt Crafton said before the race he had a great truck, and it's certainly been the case. He drove up from his 16th starting spot and has been consistently one of the top 3 or 4 fastest trucks on the track. So I think he can hang with Hornaday. I think he'll make a race out of this.
Right now, those 2 separated by about 0.2 of a second. Jack Sprague runs 3rd, Johnny Benson 4th, Mike Skinner 5th. Then it's Travis Waffle, Scott Speed, Colin Brown, David Starr, Landon Castle, all in the top 10. And those have been strong trucks there in the back of the top 10.
Ty Bodine is also on the lead lap. He right now is being shown in the 15th position. He's made some contact with the outside wall. They came in and made an extra pit stop to do a little body work to that Lumber Liquidators Toyota.
There you see Landon Castle in the GoDaddy.com, number 46, just in front of our Team ASE onboard, driven by Ted Musgrave.
Landon had a top 10 finish at Charlotte a couple of races ago, finished 9th, did a great job. Going to slide to the outside. Jason White's going to drive down to the inside. Remember, all these guys have fresh tires on right now. This is as good as it gets.
Oh, Ron and John there at Red Rocks, they're sitting there watching that truck go around here in Dover, Delaware. Why would they sponsor a truck all the way up here? They're down in Charlotte.
They like racing.
They love racing. Check out the battle for 3rd. Johnny Benson on the inside of. And look at Skinner. He was last a minute ago.
Mike Skinner's moved up. Again, he came back down on pit road earlier. Work on that number 5 truck. Restart at the back of the lead lap trucks. He's been able to work back up now into the top 5.
That's an impressive march. You know, he got in a crash when Rick Crawford got in the side of Andy Lally. Skinner was right on Crawford, bent up his front end, but now battled back to the top 5. He's right behind Johnny Benson. Skinner, Ray, is he liking this truck?
He likes it just fine, Michael, but they did play the track position game there a little bit. Skinner put on right side tires only on that last pit stop, so that helped him move up in the running order.
You know, Ray's shown us that the tire wear is not an issue at all, and I was talking to the guys in the garage area, and I said, hey, if we do have a tire wear issue, how are the left sides? He said, no problem with the left sides at all. So obviously a right side tire change right there did not hurt Mike Skinner, and he's able to stay with the 3rd and 4th place trucks right now.
I sure do like what Goodyear's done with this tire. It's very consistent, very durable, obviously. A lot of people were worried about it, but I talked to some of the engineers down there, and they said it's going to be just fine.
You know, historically, year after year after year, this racetrack has been abrasive when practice first starts. you'll go out there and you can wear out a set of tires in 25 laps. But the tire wear gets better and better and better and better as the weekend wears on. Back in the day when we run the Busch cars, you could run 100 laps by the time you got to race time without any tire issues.
I think it's real interesting, the knowledge and the history that Goodyear brings to this sport. You know, they know what this track's going to do, and they build a tire that will handle the loads and all the speed that we put on those tires here at Dover, and they stand up.
Yeah, I was going to say, even though the downforce seems to always get higher and higher. I mean, those numbers keep getting higher and higher, which would put more pressure on Goodyear to give them a better tire, but they keep coming, they rise to the occasion.
Every time. Got a truck smoking up ahead. You can see from Ted Musgrave's Team ASE onboard camera.
I think it's a 46 of Landon Kessel. There it is right there, the GoDaddy.com Chevrolet.
They got into the fence, or is that? Looks like there's some damage to the right side. Yep. Maybe that's a tire. I believe
that right front has some damage to it.
I believe I got to come to pit road right away. Yeah. That'll blow out.
You don't want to blow a right front tire at Dover. You don't want to do one anywhere, but you certainly don't want to do it at Dover.
You know, Landon was in the top 10 when this happened too. Another great run by that kid. See if we can see what happened. Oh, sideways.
Sideways coming off the corner. Then he makes some contact.
Hit pretty solid to that outside wall, Adam Alexander.
Yeah, and I'm just going to tell you that the reason for the smoke, and David Green, who's been a mentor for Landon since he came into NASCAR a year ago, is down here in the pit area. He's been coaching him from the pit box, and a tough break for Landon Castle. This kid started 24th and drove it up near the top 10 before having his problem, but he continues to gain more and more experience, both in the trucks and the Nationwide car, and this is his final start for a while in the 46 truck. He's back to Nationwide racing next week at Nashville.
Like it was. Right front fender, a little bit on the right rear.
You know, it has stopped smoking, and sometimes you'll get some sheet metal, and if it hits on a flat part, it'll move it out of the way and create its own clearance, and that appears that may be what the situation is, but Landon has backed off a little bit. See, oh, there's some more smoke.
Yep.
I just think that tire's going to blow.
He's going to take Terry Cook right up the hill. Ted Musgrave's going to drive by.
I believe the tire's gone flat.
Yeah.
He's slowing.
He got real fortunate. It didn't just.
Tires.
Got real fortunate. It didn't just blow right out, Phil. He was able to. It just went flat on him. Now you can get to pit road.
Going to try to get him clear down to the bottom of the racetrack. You see him riding around the outside. Now he's got it clear, and he's going to have a hard time.
He'll never make pit road.
Getting woed. He does do a nice job getting to pit road. Hopefully he wasn't speeding.
A good job getting down there, but I'm afraid he was speeding. See how much work they have to do to get that fender off the tire, Adam.
Well, it doesn't look too bad, Michael. You can see the damage, though, right in front of that right front tire. The call from crew chief Eric Phillips, put on 4 tires. As they change the right front, they pull out that fender, making sure there is plenty of clearance, and so they don't develop a tire rub. This is a long spot and going to end any chance for a top 10 today, but another opportunity for Landon Castle to gain some valuable experience. And now check this out, 99 spinning on track.
99 of Eric Darnell slides across the racetrack. That brings out our 5th caution of the day.
Caught a glimpse of the 33 of Ron Hornaday going by, so that will cost Eric Darnell a lap. He does get that Northern Tool and Equipment Ford refired.
He's got a flat tire.
Yeah, look at how sideways he's running down the racetrack.
So they're going to the garage. There's a 51 of Kyle Busch coming back out on pit road to re-enter the race, but Kyle's being shown 17 laps down right now.
They want those owner points, Phil. They want to make sure they get all the points they can get. They're in pretty good shape in the owner standings, even though Kyle's not going to run all the races. The truck certainly is.
There's Eric on the outside of the 30 of Todd Bodine. They drive down on the corner.
Todd comes up.
Todd gets real loose, and then he gets into the left rear quarter panel of Eric. Eric does a nice job of making just slight contact with the outside wall, but just about every incident we've seen has been a deal where the truck on the inside makes contact with the truck on the outside and turns them around. There's another view right here.
And we've seen some great driving after the spins of guys just barely slipping by and not hitting these guys going the wrong direction on the racetrack. Check out Eric Darnell as he spins to the bottom of the racetrack. All these trucks trying to figure out how to miss him.
Going to ride on board. Todd Bodine's on board. Watch, he's going to get loose. He's going to have to chase it up the hill. There he makes the contact right there.
Inside, clear low.
So you see Eric Darnell. He's going to make the hard left turn. He'll go behind the wall.
Wonder why.
But why is he going behind the wall, though? I don't understand why he's going behind the wall. He was racing out there. He got run into.
And didn't look like he made any contact. I mean, substantial contact.
I don't understand why he went behind the wall.
The battle for the lucky dog has finally been decided. Shane Sieg and Donnie Leah have fought hard, and Shane Sieg will get that to pit road, Adam.
Well, it looks like it's going to be fuel only for Rick Crawford here. Some of these guys feeling like they should come down because they couldn't make it the distance, and they said they would follow the leader and go fuel only. But when the leader stayed out, surprised to see Crawford on pit road. Bodine comes down because he has damage, and so their hand was forced a little bit. And the crew, as you can see, working on the right front, right just above the splitter there. So a tough break for Todd Bodine, who has obviously made contact on track. And Rick Crawford comes down. We'll follow up on their strategy with 83 laps to go as well.
You see him trying to put a new piece of the nose in there. They need that nose right there for downforce, so that's why they're trying to attach that new piece of fiberglass there.
Why does that guy have those fins on his head?
I believe that's a mohawk.
I'll be darned.
Outside,
on top of your helmet.
Is it on top? You don't think he's got a slit in the helmet?
I hope not.
That's plumb stylish, if you ask me.
Take a look at the last pit stop. Does he hit the truck? No, he misses it.
Oh.
That was a close call.
Made a good decision, too. Did you see him running back?
Yeah, he changed his position as to where he was going to be on the racetrack. A great crowd on hand here at Dover International Speedway. It's the home of Miles the Monster. And that monster has jumped out and grabbed a few different drivers here at Dover. We'll be back with more action. Sunday, don't miss NASCAR Race Day live from the Monster Mile. Only one pre-race show delivers the drivers, the fans, and the fun from Dover. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. NASCAR on speed. Make sure you be there with Kenny Wallace. Adam Alexander.
And guys, first off, let's talk about the 99 of Eric Darnell. He went behind the wall, as you guys saw, and the reason he was back there, he thought he had a broken track bar. In actuality, all four tires were flat, so he is now back on the racetrack, but a tough break for them because they lost a bunch of track position by going to the Truck Series garage. And his teammate has been good today. We're talking about Travis Quapple. He started back in the field. You're seeing Colin Brown, the young rookie who's been so impressive in the early part of his career, but Travis Quapple, the third head in Roush Fenway Racing, has been great today as well. Here's that Zaxby's Ford F-150. He has worked his way to 6th today, and they've done it just by good pit work and a solid ride by the Sprint Cup Series driver. Ray?
And Adam, talking about Colin Brown, he's talking with his spotter Bobby Hudson and saying, how am I going to get around these guys ahead of me? Brown currently running in 8th position. Bobby said you got to keep your nose right up there on the back of them. If they drift up just a little bit, then you've got to dive to the inside. There's no way you're going to make any passes on the high side today. Keep your nose down on the white line, and you'll be able to pick up a few spots.
Kim Lopez gives the green flag to the field as they come back to the start-finish line. Normally sharing duties up there with Kim is Brian Dobkins. He's actually in the hospital recovering right now, so our best wishes go out to him. A speedy recovery for Brian Dobkins.
Right now, Ron Hornaday has a little anxious mode because he's got the 51 truck of Kyle Busch on the inside there. Kyle is being shown 19 laps down, but he would love to stay out in front of Ron Hornaday.
Oh, yeah. He's going to race on the racetrack now. Even though he's 19 laps down, he's still going to have fun out there.
He's going to antagonize and terrorize that 33 of Ron Hornaday.
Right on the bottom of the racetrack.
Well, Ron has a different goal now. He just wanting to, he needs to calm down and say, well, okay, you be mean if you want and pass me. I'm going to hold off these other guys. I got to keep my stuff up under me. I don't want to burn up my truck trying to race some guy 18 laps down.
Exactly. And right now he's got him out in front of him, and that's fine with Ron Hornaday if he can just drive away from him because he knows he's not going to catch him.
I'm not sure it's fine with him. I know Ron, I think he probably wanted to keep him back there, but it's going to be good in the long run if he just lets him go.
Let's lose this battle and win the war. There's Todd Bodine right there. There's Rick Crawford right in front of him. That's
problem. JC Stout slides down the backstretch.
Keep her down there.
Stay there. Front of the brake. Front of the brake. All right. You got the back wall, guys. You got the back wall.
It happens so often. You see the left rear tire flat on JC's truck right there. Family owned and operated team out of upstate New York.
Good looking truck, or it was.
Try to run a handful of races.
Started 32nd today.
On the apron.
It's JC's second start of the year. Get another view of what happened. Just got a little bit loose coming off of 2 and just got away from him just the slightest bit and did his best to catch that truck, and unfortunately going to make some contact with the inside wall. That is a safer barrier on the inside of the backstretch wall, though.
So if you're going to lose it off a turn, 2's better than 4.
The deck lid flying off, but tethered to the truck, so it just flipped over, and they'll go to work on that truck as he goes into the garage as well. About a few trucks make their way into that garage area today.
Here we have about 6 trucks right now that are being shown in the garage area.
Well, now I have to point out Kyle Busch has made up 1 lap because he got in front of the race leader and the caution came out, so he gets to go all the way back around, but he's still 18 laps down.
It's not going to happen for him today.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen.
It isn't going to work.
There's
Justin Marks gets the Aaron's lucky dog this time around. So Justin Marks back on the lead lap here at Dover International Speedway. Welcome back. AAA Insurance 200 from Dover International Speedway about to get back underway. It's Ron Hornaday in front of Matt Crafton, Jack Sprague, Johnny Benson, and Mike Skinner. Green flag back in the air.
Guys are turning up the wick field. You see all of them trying to get on the outside on the restart. They know laps are winding down. Only got 72 to go.
See, Kyle Busch right there is mired back in traffic. He obviously is still a number of laps down, still 18 laps down, but he did not drive or try to make his way to the front to try to get be the first truck 1 lap down. So going to give Ron Hornaday a bit of a break right now.
Now, we had 75 laps to go when that caution came out, or around that area. Why would you have not have come down that time, top off with fuel, and know you could make it the rest of the way?
We said our pit window was around 75 to 85 laps, so we think that most of the trucks would have been able to make it from that distance.
We've already
on that pit stop.
We've already established tire wear doesn't seem to be an issue, so just didn't want to give up that track position. I don't guess wanting fresh tires with 40 or 50 laps to go to finish this race out would probably be the perfect plan for our first 5 trucks. If they get on pit road with 40 to go, get 4 tires and be done with it, they'd be happy.
So another truck smoking
smoke back behind him. It looks like the gunbroker.com has smoke rolling out from that. It's Jason White.
I think that's engine related.
Yeah, sure looks like it. That does bring out the caution, but you know, 3 of our lead lap trucks did pit on that last caution flag. The 9 of Justin Marks, the 30 of Todd Bodine, and the 13 of Shelby Howard.
See that 08 up on the high side of the racetrack, and the smoke rolling out of that as that engine just expired.
Right in front of Andy Lally. Andy does a nice job of getting that truck slowed and getting around on the inside of Jason White. Let's see if this is going to bring the rest of these guys down pit road. We're inside of 70 laps to go. Now we know that everybody can make it from here on fuel if they stop. We'll see if anybody takes the bait and comes down pit road here.
This certainly isn't the perfect time. You know, they'd like to have these tires a little bit later. I don't think they're gonna come. I believe they'll wait and see if they can get their tires later. What do you think?
Here comes Ron Hornaday. He's going to lead the group down pit road, and it's kind of a follow the leader thing. When Ron came down pit road, that just about brought everybody else.
Now everybody's following the leader. Adam Alexander.
In the word from Matt Crafton, we are very, very, very close. 4 tires and fuel for them. The last couple of cautions, crew chief Bud Hagley said we need a few more laps before we're good to go the distance. Now they should be good on fuel. 4 tires for him here at lap 132. Jack Sprague in as well to Ray Dunlap.
Rick Wren made a very last-second call on whether to pit right now. He said, let's do it. They're putting on set number 4. This is a set of tires that they ran 2 laps of qualifying in practice. Johnny Benson is getting 4 sticker tires, and it looks like their pit stop was held up just a little bit. Scott Speed must have taken 2. He'll be first off of pit road. Hornaday is going to have a battle off of pit road with his teammate Jack Sprague.
Ted Musgrave, and look at.
Oh, Skinner had
We got traffic jam right there coming off of pit road.
3 or 4 wide coming off pit road. Remember, we talked about a couple trucks that stayed on the racetrack or pitted during that last caution flag. Todd Bodine was one of those trucks, and he stayed on the racetrack. Adam, what's going on with Scott Speed?
And for Scott Speed, Ray called it. It was right side tires only. And we've talked throughout the day about how tires have not been wearing like we expected they might. And with that, Speed rolls the dice. Little pit strategy late in the race as he tries to get his first Truck Series win.
And he's run fairly consistent this year. couple top 15 finishes, most recently at Mansfield, 15th. We'll be back with more from Dover. Welcome back. It's the AAA Insurance 200 from Dover International Speedway. The Monster Mile has taken on a few different drivers today. Field working their way around this 1 mile concrete oval. It's been difficult for a few different drivers. Getting into the inside wall, making a little contact with other drivers, spinning around, sliding into that outside wall.
The 3 trucks right there. The first 3 trucks, actually first 2 trucks now, with Todd Bodine and Shane Zeek, both stayed on the racetrack last time.
This is all mixed up, Phil. You know, we talked about you couldn't have a mistake on pit road late. Johnny Benson, too fast exiting to the rear. Mike Skinner, you see in the middle of this mess, had a slow pit stop, lost 7 or 8 spots. He's in the rear. The opposite of that, Scott Speed and those guys stayed out and
Tire stop.
I'm sorry, got 2 tires, and it's got them up toward the front. So pit strategy is going to play a role in how this race turns out, it appears.
And Todd did stay out. Remember, he was one of the trucks that pitted on the caution before that, back on lap number 116. So obviously they feel as though track position is key for them.
Ron Hornaday was leading before the caution came out.
Sprague got big time sideways off that corner.
Jack Sprague, his teammate, just in front of him, has his hands full with that truck. But it was Hornaday that was leading the race when the caution came out, and now he's mired back in the 6th spot, trying to take position away from his teammate Jack Sprague.
He's doing all he can do to get by his teammate Jack Sprague. Going to try to drive up beside him here in the center of the corner. Going to clear him before they exit the corner.
Looks like Hornaday's got a little better truck than Jack Sprague today.
Right now, Todd Bodine has his hands full of the lap truck, and that actually is just going to let him go. No sense even racing him right now. All he wants to do is try to put as much distance as he can on those trucks running behind him.
Kyle Busch 17 laps down to our leader, which is Todd Bodine, riding along with the Lumber Liquidators on board. Todd started this race 21st. Again, as he stayed on the racetrack, he has moved up to 1st. Adam Alexander.
And you guys talked about Todd Bodine and his strategy. Well, Shane Zeek stayed out as well. They were last on pit road at lap 117, but they haven't had tires since lap 96. I talked to his crew chief, Doug George, and he said the reason why, we've had so many caution flag laps, they feel good about it, and yes, they are, in fact, good enough to go the distance on fuel.
Be a bit of a stretch, but like you said, a caution flag lap. Good run for Travis Kvapil. You can see he was all over the back of Jack Sprague. 6th and 7th position. Travis has got a good truck today.
He really does. There's Matt Crafton, who was battling up in the top 2 or 3 positions a few moments ago. He's behind that group right there. He's running 8th. Johnny Benson fighting right now to overcome that penalty. He's being shown in the 17th position right now. Had to restart this race from the tail end of the longest line for speeding, exiting pit road.
Adam Alexander touched on Shane Zeek being out on the racetrack, currently running in the 2nd spot, thinking they can make it on fuel.
And running lap times that are the same as our leader, Todd Bodine. So this truck's not only taking advantage of some pit strategy, but he's good enough to keep his track position as well.
And it's a pretty good person to follow around this racetrack as far as lines. Todd Bodine has 3 nationwide wins here at Dover, the most amongst all drivers.
Shane actually ran a 1/4 second faster than Todd did that time. There's Ron Hornaday going to try to get by the 59 Team ASC Toyota. Ted Musgrave, he's able to do that. That will put Ron up in the 4th spot, and now he will go after that 22 of Scott Speed.
Again, Scott Speed winning the race off of pit road after just changing 2 right side tires.
So if this race goes green the rest of the way, you see Scott right there moving in on the 15 Mikosuke Toyota of Shane Zeek. If this race goes green, I think that's a great strategy by Doug Walcott and his guys to put 2 tires on that 22 truck.
Well, we know he can make it to the finish. There's a little bit of a question about the 15, whether that strategy will work or not. But we certainly enjoy when a race is when there's all kinds of different strategies going on. Trying to watch these crew chiefs work their magic down on pit road. Goodyear's got a tire here that allows them to be a little bit flexible. They don't have to have 4 tires every time the caution flies. So you see a lot of good strategy being played out here late in the going.
The battle continues for the 6th position right there. Scott Speed has been able to get by that 15 truck of Shane Sieg to take over the second position.
And both those trucks, second and third of Scott Speed and Shane Sieg, are a little bit better than Todd right now. So Scott's going to chase down that 30 truck, I believe. Still contesting this battle for the 6th spot. Travis looks faster, Phil, but he just can't get underneath the 2.
A lot of these drivers talk about when they get up close to another truck, they start getting that arrow push a little bit. We saw Travis underneath Jack one time a few laps ago, but wasn't quite able to make the pass.
Just 54 laps of racing to go from Dover. And the past 2 races we have had first-time winners. Could Scott Speed be our next first-time winner?
He's definitely catching our leader, Todd Bodine. He's only 0.7 of a second behind right now. There's a gap right there. There's Todd Bodine left of your screen, the 30 truck, and there's Scott Speed, the 22 truck, right now, right side of your screen, and he's definitely noticeably catching him.
Well, he can make that truck work right around the bottom of the racetrack, and Todd's slipping up into the middle of the track, and it looks like that line that Scott is using, ringing the bottom, is definitely closing that gap.
And he's got about 15 less laps on his tires than does Todd, but remember, he only put 2 tires on that pit stop. So his right side tires are the ones that about 15 laps newer than Todd's.
What a nice line Scott Speed is running on the bottom of that racetrack as he's reeling in Todd Bodine. Adam Alexander.
You guys talk about the success of Scott Speed in closing in on the leader, and here's the reason why. Todd Bodine said the truck is really loose and then tight up by the wall. So while their strategy has been good, the truck not exactly where they want it to be, and that's allowing young Scott Speed to reel him in late in the race.
He's there, Phil, up underneath the 30 truck of Todd Bodine. Scott Speed looks like he's going to make quick work of Todd Bodine.
He's just going to drive by him, and he needs to get gone because that 33 truck of Hornaday is coming.
That last lap, it was Scott Speed who led, so Scott Speed, our new leader at Dover International Speedway. Has he got enough to stay in front of the 33 of Ron Hornaday? We're going to have to find out. Hornaday is able to get by Shane Sieg. He'll move into the 3rd spot, and now Hornaday will try to get by the 30 of Todd Bodine. 2 strong trucks on the racetrack right now. Scott Speed and Ron Hornaday. They're separated by another truck. The Monster Mile, the site of this, the 8th race of the 2008 season. Who's it going to be? A first-time winner once again? We're about to find out.
The boys are back on dirt.
It's the ultimate test of speed and skill as 25 of the world's best drivers battle to take the title Best on Dirt.
There's nothing better than beating Tony at his own track.
Live from the legendary Eldora Speedway.
I'm racing to win.
A great race for a great cause.
In support of Victory Junction.
Who will be left in the dust?
On the dirt, separating the men from the boys.
Old Spice, Prelude to the Dream. Wednesday, June 4th, live on pay-per-view. Don't miss it. Contact your pay-per-view provider to...
Welcome back. It's 22 of Scott Speed that everyone is chasing here at Dover International Speedway. The Monster Mile, the site of the AAA Insurance 200. And that Red Bull number 22 Toyota Tundra out in front of the field. But now it's Ron Hornaday that is giving chases. He's been able to get by Todd Bodine.
Yeah, Ron Hornaday has shown a lot of strength this entire race. Now he is the guy chasing that 22 Red Bull Toyota right there of Scott Speed. We're inside of 45 laps to go. We have 43 laps to go right now. There's plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
A lot of time. There's the difference.
These tires, though, Phil, you get out 70, 60, 70 laps on them. It's going to be interesting if there is a late caution to see if anybody thinks they can afford to shoot down to pit road or not.
Take a look at how Ron Hornaday took second away from Todd Bodine.
Just dove to the bottom of the racetrack and cleared Todd in one corner. That thing's working good down on the bottom.
Another view from Todd's Lumber Liquidators on board. See, Todd's going to stay up the racetrack, give Ron room on the bottom. He knew that Ron had run him down from a long way behind. Todd right now is just trying to make the best of this situation. He's trying to hold on to the 3rd spot. Ron, in the meantime, is trying to chase down that 22 truck of Scott Speed.
Right now, he's got Chad Chaffin in the 40, well, on his outside, so he will make small time of Chad Chaffin as he continues to work his way through lap traffic, just as Scott Speed is going to have to do the same. Both trucks have been able to work very well on the bottom of the racetrack.
They really have, and that's why these trucks are superior to a lot of the other trucks on the racetrack. And you would think, you know, lap traffic, if it comes into play, you would think we would have to give the nod to Ron Hornaday. He has so much experience, a 3-time champion here. There's a battle for the 3rd spot. Shane Sieg going after the 3rd spot on Todd Bodine.
And that truck hadn't had tires on it in 100, 70 or 80 laps. It's got to go over 100 to get to the finish.
Both of these drivers stayed out on the racetrack most recently to the last caution. Shane Singh and Todd Bodine. Bodine was our leader when we had a restart.
Yeah, they last pitted Todd on lap number 116 and Shane on lap number 117. Ray, what's the thinking down in the Ron Hornaday pit?
Well, the crew members just put their helmets on and jumped up on the wall. Hornaday said he's got a bad vibration. Rick Wren said, don't wreck that truck. If you think it's bad enough, or if we got a loose wheel, get that thing to pit road. Hornaday hasn't said anything else on the radio, but we'll watch him. Crew members are ready if he needs to pit.
It was 30 laps ago when they last pitted.
That's about what the length of time you'd think it would take for a wheel to really work its way loose and start shaking. So I know that's what he's thinking it is.
We have the power of computers and screens in front of us. Ron Hornaday currently, as they run on the racetrack, is again our point leader, ahead of Matt Craftsman, who is 1 point behind him. And this is again how they run on the racetrack. If you remember back to Homestead a year ago, Hornaday and Skinner battling for the championship. Skinner thought he had a vibration and the wheel fell off. Well, Hornaday now says, I think I might have a vibration. What do you do?
You have to science out how bad it is. If it's getting worse and worse and worse with every lap that goes by, you got to stop. You got to put tires on that thing and take out any chance of the thing flying off. But they also are very cognizant, very aware of how important each position and each point can be when it comes down to the end of the season. We didn't know who was going to win the championship last year until the final lap of the final race.
Right. See, Todd Bodine continues to lose positions. Jack Sprague, the 2 truck, was able to get by Todd. That moves Todd back to the 5th spot. Ron Hornaday is not able to do anything with Scott Speed.
Tires are gone.
Here Todd say his front tires are gone. There's Scott Speed right there. He continues to run faster laps than does Ron Hornaday. You wonder if Ron Hornaday may have backed off because of that vibration. That lap right there, Ron Hornaday was a couple tenths quicker, but Scott was in some pretty heavy traffic.
Now Ron Hornaday has to try to get by Landon Castle. Again, Landon got into the wall. You see a little damage on the right front of that truck. Ray, what's happening? Are they talking more about the 33?
Well, Rick, I'm listening to him. Each time he comes by, they're pitted down towards the end of pit road. And when he gets ready to let off the gas at the end of the front straightaway going into turn 1, it has a real flat sound. So it almost sounds like it might be a vibration from something in the drivetrain or the engine and not a loose wheel.
So trying to diagnose what the issue may be with that 33 the whole time. Ron Hornaday is trying to stay in it because he's got to try to catch up to Scott's speed.
You know, I had a vibration like this at Bristol on my Cup car, and it shook and shook and shook, and I wanted to pit so bad, but darn, you make a pit stop, and instead of being on the lead lap, you wind up 2 or 3 down, and you lose 10 spots that you never get back. So Ron's trying to figure all this out in his mind, also keeping himself, reminding himself what happened to Brian Vickers last week at Charlotte. His wheel flew off.
Right. And into the crowd in the infield.
There's Ron Hornaday right there. Remember, he's talking about a possible engine issue just a couple laps ago when he was lapping the 46 truck of Landon Castle. It looked at the end of the straightaway. You see here, right, Landon moves over. You see, but he gains on Ron Hornaday as they go down the straightaway. Then they get to the corner, and Ron just dive bombs it in there on the outside of Landon Castle. But it looked like he lost ground on the straightaway. Maybe it's an inner valve spring or something like that that only affects these things at the very top end.
So potentially, we've got problems with the right front of Todd Bodine. He talked about the front tires were going away, and sure enough, they have. The right front goes away, and the caution comes out for the 8th time tonight.
Yeah, tough break. There's Scott Speed absolutely did not want this caution flag. A lot of damage to that Lumber Liquidators Toyota of Todd Bodine.
A lot of the crew chiefs were talking 30 to 40 laps were idea for their tires. Now, we saw strategy. These guys pitted with 70 or so to go and said, we're done for the day. But does that complexion change now? Does somebody take a chance, come get them some tires and try to go get Scott Speed?
We've got 16 trucks on the lead lap. One of those trucks is Todd Bodine, so he's going to be out of contention with as much damage as he has. We're going to get another lucky dog, but this is where the crew chief really earns his pay.
Well, remember, Todd Bodine came into this race our point leader. This has happened to a couple different point leaders. We had Ron Hornaday come in as a point leader. He had problems. Now we saw Rick Wren talking to his driver.
There's Doug Wolcott right there. That's Scott Speed's crew chief. Let's see if we can take a look back at what happened to Todd Bodine. Let's listen.
Well, there it went.
Yeah, and that's the usual result when you blow a right front tire.
Inside. Come on the pit road there.
We've heard Todd Bodine talk all day long about his front tires weren't working. He couldn't get any grip out of those front tires. That's just meaning that right front tire is sliding across this surface, and it's wearing that tire out.
Pit road is still closed right now.
You know, we talked on that last caution. I thought some of those guys would stay out and wait to make their last stop. It's going to be tense right now. You know, Doug Walker sitting on the wall trying to figure out what he's going to do.
They've got another 45 or 60 seconds to think about it. There's Justin Marks. He is our Aaron's lucky dog, so he will join these trucks on the lead lap. His teammates' misfortune is going to be his fortune.
Aaron's lucky dog, Justin Marks, gets that in the number 9. And while we're on the Aaron's theme, it's time to test your Truck Series knowledge with the Aaron's Lucky Guess trivia question. Now, last week's win in Mansfield by rookie Donnie Leah came in his 8th start in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, which ties him for 2nd with 2 other rookie drivers, Kenny Irwin and Kurt Busch. Can you name the rookie driver who won his first race in his 5th start and what track he did it at? Don't make any guesses.
I won't.
We'll give you because you might not know.
I'm not going to either.
We will give you the answer when we come back. Again, last week, Mansfield, Donnie Leah came in his 8th start, won his first one, which tied him for 2nd. Who was the rookie who won his first race in the 5th NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series start? I'll let you guys guess now.
Carl Edwards.
No.
I don't know.
It's Tony Raines. Put that answer up there. Tony Raines at I-70 Speedway, and that was his 5th start in the Truck Series, and there's the footage of that. Take a look at those.
I think that was
trucks.
the first race ever for victory for Dodge in the Truck Series.
Tony Raines there celebrating his Pennzoil driver's suit.
And he's celebrating right now. He made the Cup race for Sunday afternoon.
He celebrates again here at Dover. Well, Craftsman's always on the cutting edge of technology when it comes to tools. Tonight, we want to spotlight another important piece of equipment that Craftsman makes available to all of us in the Craftsman Tools of the Trade.
Rick, down here in the pit area, the crew members will use this digital infrared thermometer for a lot of different reasons. Now, the most important one is to check track temperature. Now, the guys will get this down about right there. They'll squeeze this button, and then it'll show you a digital number. Now, you'll see that one's moving right now, but it would lock in. Only 82 degrees on the racetrack right now. The guys will use it to check tire temperatures. Now, Ron Hornaday right now thinks that he very well may have a plug wire off, and the engine guys use these all the time. They'll be able to go in underneath the hood, push the button, and they can find a colder cylinder than the other ones. Engine guys will also use this to cool down to get ready to go racing. So this 1,000 degree temperature reading goes from 0 to 1,000. Craftsman always gives you the best information, and today it's all in digital. Adam?
Shane Sieg on pit road, giving up the 4th position. I thought perhaps there's a problem. That's not the case. They are the only guys that have tires left. So they said there will be plenty of time to get back through the field. That's the call from crew chief Doug George. The 4 tires are on, and now it'll be a joy to watch that 15 truck driven by Shane Sieg try to come back through with less than 25 laps to go when we get the restart.
There's another truck right there with tires. He obviously put tires on that 23 truck. There's no guarantee they weren't tires that have already been on the truck that they will glue back up. There's Ted Musgrave, the Team ASC Toyota, another truck that came down pit road. Ray?
Phil, you're exactly right. Those were tires that they have already run on the racetrack and put back on. Everybody out of brand new or fresh tires down here, they've used all 4 sets, but Johnny Benson, because he got that penalty earlier for leaving the pit road too fast, he figured they might as well try to get a good set of tires and maybe make up some positions out there on the racetrack.
Scott Speed in front of the field. They stayed out, as did Ron Hornaday, who runs 2nd. Jack Sprague is 3rd. He stayed on the racetrack. We'll find out if old tires will prevail or fresh tires will move to the front. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is presented on Speed by Dodge. Live life to the fullest. Dodge. Grab life. Brought to you in part by Craftsman. Craftsman tools are the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears. And by Aaron's Sales and Lease Ownership. Nobody beats Aaron's. Nobody. Who will be the next first-time winner? It was Donnie Leah a week ago. 2 weeks ago, it was Matt Crafton who celebrated in victory lane. Can Scott Speed be the 3rd in a row?
I'm telling you, we have 23 laps to go. I think he can do it.
Adam Alexander, what does this crew chief think?
Walcott, the crew chief, quickly, Doug. The 2-tire call was great. What's it going to take to hold them off?
If we can get through this restart, because that's where Hornaday is the strongest, I think if everything goes our way, we'll just pull away. I mean, the truck's been strong. We've had 2/10 on them the last bunch of laps here, but Hornaday's always tough on the restart, so that's really all we got to. If we get through the restart, I think we'll be okay. I mean, anything can happen, but that's our biggest fear right now, just the restart.
Bill Davis Racing has not won in the Truck Series in 2008. What if Scott Speed were the guy to get him there? We'll find out momentarily. We're going green, guys.
He's got to be careful. Make sure he doesn't jump too early. Make sure he doesn't spin the tires and give Hornaday a shot at him.
What a big day this would be for Bill Davis Racing. They started on the front row with Mike Skinner and Johnny Benson, and now it is Scott Speed taking the green flag. A good restart for Scott Speed, and it looks as though the 33 is going to drop back, but here comes the 2 of Jack Sprague.
Yeah, he definitely has a crippled engine right there. We're speculating that may be a plug wire, maybe a valve spring, it may be a broken header, but right now, obviously that truck would not come up to speed. That allowed his teammate Jack Sprague to get by, and I don't think anybody else can run with that 22 truck.
And now it's the 33 of Ron Hornaday all over the back bumper of Jack Sprague when they're in the turns. Now, as you mentioned earlier, on the straightaways, it doesn't look like he's got anything for Jack Sprague, but in the turns, he handles better.
Thing is right around the turns, but he doesn't have the power, Phil. He can't finish the pass.
Yeah, he's not lacking all that much power, but you know, he's going to have to make the look at the time he makes up in the corner. If he can get by him, then I think he would have enough to stay in front of Jack.
Does he have enough, though, to get by that 22 out in front? And how about Travis Quapple in the 09? A great run for him, running 4th right now.
Yeah, Travis is doing a terrific job. Remember, he runs that truck most of the time when the sprint cars are in town at the same venue, and doing a terrific job here for Roush Fenway.
So Travis Quapple running in the 4th spot. Matt Crafton right behind him in 5th. But here is the battle for 2nd. Jack Sprague and Ron Hornaday.
You know how painful that is for Ron Hornaday to have a truck that will go through the corners like that, but not be able to drive past the guy on the straightaway. He's got such a fast truck that he feels helpless right now.
And meantime, we're inside of 20 laps to go, and Scott Speed is driving away from those guys. And here's Matt Crafton, another great run for Matt Crafton, right now being shown in the 5th spot.
Yep, Matt Crafton moving up. He's top 5. Then it's David Starr behind him in 6th. Skinner is 7th.
We haven't talked a whole lot about David Starr. He's had a good solid run with that Red Horse Toyota. Great 2nd place run last week at Mansfield. Led from lap 80 till lap 249. Lost the lead to Donnie Lee on the last lap. Ended up finishing 2nd. Another good run going here. And here comes Mike Skinner right behind him.
Skinner's had an up and down day on pit road. He got in a crash. He's had some problems on pit road, but yet still top 10 run for him. Trying to run the high side right now, and he loses ground to Starr. Probably tuck it back down to the bottom and see if he can hold off Colin Brown, who's riding in 8th.
Mike Skinner started on the pole. Only 2 other drivers have won from the pole at this racetrack. Kurt Busch did it back in 2000 in the first ever race here.
Here's Kyle Busch's Toyota onboard. Remember, Kyle's being shown 17 laps down. Colin Brown right now is racing on the lead lap in the 8th position. Good job for him here, first time at Dover.
He's going to have his hands full now with Kyle Busch looking to the inside. And Kyle Busch moving way up the racetrack. Maybe Kyle's decided, you know what, I'm going to let these guys race.
I think that's exactly what Kyle decided. He had the 14 truck of Rick Crawford being shown in the 9th position right there, right behind him. Kyle's not going to mess their race up being as many laps down. Meanwhile, here's our leader, Scott Speed. 1.7 seconds right now over the 2nd place truck of Jack Sprague.
We saw the 08 blow up earlier, and there's the 07 smoking. Those are team trucks, so they both have a problem under the hood.
One's Chevrolet, one's Dodge, so no similarity there. Ray, what's going on?
Hey, Phil, you know, we talk about Scott Speed. It's hard to remember that the kid's only 25 years old, and he's already raced in Formula One. He won the Red Bull Racing Challenge a couple of years ago, and I talked with Slugger Labby when he came in the garage this weekend. He said he felt like Dover was going to be one of their biggest challenges because this racetrack is so lightning fast and a place that he's never been. But Slugger told me the plan is later this year to get him into a few Sprint Cup races. Obviously, they're running for the ARCA REMAX Series Championship, and they believe that he is making such incredible progress in these stock cars and stock trucks that they think yet this year Scott Speed may be ready to run some Cup races.
I think you'd find a hard time getting an argument about that. He's just been solid in everything he's gotten in, and driving away from the field here at Dover with Less than 15 laps to go.
Yeah, Ray Dunlap touched on the fact that he's running the full ARCA REMAX Series schedule. He won his first stock car race at Kansas just a couple weeks ago when the trucks were there. He won it the day before the trucks got onto the racetrack. So Scott Speed has found victory lane in a stock car. Now closing in on his first win in NASCAR.
Yeah, he came right back the next day after that ARCA REMAX race that he won and finished 8th in the truck right here. So doing a terrific job, and I'm telling you, he's opening up. He's gaining a quarter of a second, 2/3 a lap.
10 to go there, Toenail. Got a slow one up there in front of you.
What's 10 to go for
what's a Toenail?
Scott Speed. Well, you know what? I bet any nickname would stick to Scott Speed right now.
Well, I think he was talking. I heard that he was telling his guys that he had his toenails done before practice started today. Or before qualifying started.
So they're probably going to give him a little grief about that. But I tell you what, the man who celebrates in victory lane, I think, gets to dictate what he gets teased about.
Junior Johnson just threw up somewhere in Ronda, North Carolina.
Bud Moore, some of those.
Yeah, those guys are just saying, no, please tell me that's not true. Say they made that up.
I'm telling you, that's what I heard.
But you know, you like to see a cat like Scott Speed show up at Martinsville, Virginia, short, tight, half-mile racetrack, and go out there and earn his marks. And he did. He finished 10th his first race at Martinsville, and you really, really like to see the job that he did there. Carried on to Kansas, and now here he is leading at Dover.
We're inside of 10 laps to go. They're coming down on 8 laps to go right now. Has over a 2.7 second lead.
And historically, I mean, we're breaking all the records here, because this would be 3 consecutive races where we would have first-time winners in this series.
That is really incredible. I'm not even sure we had that in the inaugural season back in 1995.
I mean, this has been amazing these past 3 races as we see the battle between Skinner and Colin Brown. Skinner running a little bit higher on the racetrack. Colin Brown looking to the inside.
It's a battle for the 7th position right now. Skinner has it. He took it away from Colin Brown. Rick Crawford trails that duo in 9th. Chad McCumbee, another top 10 run for him, going in 10th.
7 laps of racing to go. It's Scott Speed in front of Jack Sprague. Now it's 2.7 seconds the difference.
And that's a big difference for Scott Speed. The first victory, you know, he's got to be a little bit tense right now, making sure he's hitting his marks perfectly. A lot better having a 2-second lead trying to hit your marks than it is with somebody right on your tailgate.
And I've been watching his lap times, though. He's been very, very consistent with his lap times. As a matter of fact, this most recent lap was one of the quicker laps he's run in the last 5 or 6 laps.
I've really been impressed with Scott Speed. I think there was a big question mark by his name when he came into the stock car world. Everybody was wondering, okay, what's he going to do? I mean, coming from F1, where he won the ride in the Red Bull Challenge, he goes in F1 and has some success, not great success, but some success, then decides, you know what, we're going to go stock car racing.
Well, so much of that F1 is predicated by your equipment, and Scott Speed was not in the equipment that would match a Ferrari or a McLaren or something like that, but he's in great equipment right here in this Bill Davis Toyota, and he is doing the job, continuing to run sub 25-second laps, and he's just about the only truck on the racetrack that is doing that.
And he's got to give his crew chief a big data boy. He got him 2 tires, got him in track position. That was the call that made the difference.
Right now, Scott Speed making his way around this 1-mile racetrack. 3 miles to go. The spotter letting him know, okay, you know, something like 3 miles to go, 3 laps.
Said he's clear by 40 or 50, something like that, he said.
He's got a big lead, 3.3 seconds, under 3 miles to go from Dover, looking for his first ever win in NASCAR.
2 laps to go for Scott Speed, again running sub 25-second laps.
What he doesn't want to see now in the next 20 seconds is a caution flag. If he could just make it back to the start-finish line, that'll take the green-white checkered out of play. Then he can baby that thing around for 1 more mile.
Scott Speed looking to improve upon his career best, which came back in Kansas.
Everything's fine.
That 8th place finish.
White flag.
1 more lap here at Dover International Speedway. Scott Speed looking for his first win in stock car racing for NASCAR. Could it come in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series? He's a half a mile away.
Easy, man. No
He's got it.
No pressure.
That's got to be a very calming voice from Slugger Lab. He's saying, easy, half throttle, do whatever you got to do, toenail.
The nickname may stick, but it's going to be Scott Speed coming out of turn number 4. He'll win at the Monster Mile.
Yeah, baby.
Colin Brown trying to get by that 5 truck, got a little bit loose coming off 4. Terrific job by Scott Speed, Doug Walcott, all those guys on that Bill Davis Toyota. Red Bull.
You know what? We talked about first-time winners and how quickly they got there.
First win, man. You can do.
Well, Donnie Leah did it in 8 races.
Good
Scott
truck,
Speed
guys.
just bettered him. He did it in 6 starts.
How about that?
This ought to be an interesting victory celebration. Scott Speed likes to step out on the edge a little bit.
Adam Alexander, crew chief, champion crew chief, winner crew chief with you.
Yeah, how about Doug Walcott? And I'll tell you what, the 2-tire call was great. You said you love this kid, and he delivered today. Congratulations.
Thanks. It's unbelievable feeling. I don't think I've been this happy in a long time, so pretty darn cool.
You can hear the emotion. A magical day for Doug Walcott and driver Scott Speed.
Scott Speed working his way around the Monster Mile. The concrete will be the site for this celebration. He's unstrapping the helmet, about ready to start the burnouts in front of a great crowd. We'll be right back for that celebration. It's been 10 years since we have had 3 first-time winners in a row. Back in '98, it was Andy Houston, Terry Cook, and Jimmy Hensley. This year, it's Matt Crafton, Donnie Leah, and add that name, Scott Speed, to the 3 that have done it in 2008. What an emotional win for Scott Speed as he celebrated with his team. That was moments ago.
That's not even victory lane.
No, he jumped out of the truck. He was very excited. And now he's made it to victory lane. He's with Adam Alexander.
And so happy about that first NASCAR win, you couldn't even wait to get to victory lane to celebrate. I know you felt good about this race truck today, but does this go beyond your wildest expectations, ending the day in victory lane?
Well, just the first time I saw a trophy before a race, I was like, man, that one's pretty cool. I'd like to have that. So I don't know. I mean, the guys did an awesome job. I mean, that truck was unbelievable. So, I mean, I did what I could do, but the team really won that one.
How about the call to take 2 tires?
Yeah, I mean, I was telling them since the beginning to do something a little crazy, you know?
Oh, Mike Skinner with a little victory present.
Toenail. No, I mean, good job. Man, that's kind of cold. No. Hey, I mean, the guy, like I said, the team won that one because our car was blistering fast. I mean, it was driving at 80% and we were pulling away. And obviously the call to take 2 tires put us in that position. So hats off to the team.
A year ago, Bill Davis Racing won 9 times. They had not been to victory lane in 2008 until today. Scott Speed gets him there and only his 6th start in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Very humble Scott Speed winning his first ever race in NASCAR. And he does it here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Jack Sprague, Ron Hornaday, teammates finishing 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, Travis Kvapil, a great run. Matt Crafton, another top 5. David Starr comes back with a 6th place run after his 2nd place finish last week.
Shane C came to get tires, and we see why nobody took that gamble. It just didn't pay off for him. He pitted out of the 4th spot, winds up finishing 14th.
Landon Castle, Eric Darnell, Scott Lagacy back here 24th, 25th, 26th.
Kyle Busch in 27th. Transmission problems to what was probably the best truck here. Unfortunately, didn't get it to the end.
Again, Scott Speed came onto the front stretch and he couldn't wait. He had to climb out and celebrate with his team and pose. He is a humble man, Scott Speed, giving credit to his team, making the great call to do 2 tires and give him track position. The winner of the AAA Insurance 200 from Dover International Speedway.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Welcome back to Dover International Speedway, the Monster Mile. There you see a replica of Miles on the trophy. It's Scott Speed celebrating Slugger Labby. Hey, we've got a new point leader in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Rick Crawford, unofficially our points leader now. Matt Crafton has moved to 2nd. Ron Hornaday's battled back to 3rd. Todd Bodine drops all the way to 4th. Johnny Benson is in 5th. Jack Sprague currently 6th in the points, is standing by with Ray Dunlap.
And for the 40th time in his career, he finishes 2nd in the Craftsman Truck Series. Track position was the key today, Jack, but I assume that you guys decided you couldn't take 2 because you're running for a championship.
Well, the 2 wasn't an option, and track position I don't feel like was everything here, Ray. I could pass. If I could catch somebody, I could pass them on the outside, inside. It wasn't near as sensitive as a lot of places we go. I was really amazed at how easy it was to pass when you caught somebody. They didn't slow you down 3/10, but Ernie and the guys did a great job. I mean, we started out the race horribly tight. They kept adjusting on it, and that last run, right before that last caution, we were running. I could tell we were going fast. We were catching the guys in front of us. I mean, we were a 4th, 5th place truck all night, and you know, at the last adjustment, it worked. And I thought when that caution came out, I knew Ron was wounded. The only way I can beat Ron's if he's wounded. And I thought I could get speed there, but we took off and I was tight again. So good day for KHI, 2nd, 3rd, and good points day for everybody. Just I want to win, bud.
All right, let's hear from his teammate, Hornaday. He's with Adam.
And it's his 4th top 5 of the year, finishing 3rd today. The engine laid down at the end, but a solid run for you.
I don't know if it was the engine or not, a broken header or something, but I had to let Jack by there. I didn't want everybody stacking up. But Rick Red and everybody done a great job with that Camper World Chevrolet. And you know, I got to thank Kevin Delaney. This is what it's all about. The truck was so just dominant. A brand new truck again, never been raced, and this is what's so fun about racing for KHI. Just Chevrolet and everybody. This is fun.
Kevin Harvick Incorporated 1-2 at Kansas a few weeks ago. They go 2nd and 3rd today here at Dover.
9th different winner at Dover. Next week, will we have 4 first-time winners in a row? You'll have to tune in. It's Texas Motor Speedway setup. Get started at 8:30. The Samstown 400 at 9 o'clock. Back to a 1.5-mile racetrack.
Great racing here. A lot of guys bouncing off the wall.
Bouncing off each other.
Bouncing off each other. And another first-time winner in victory lane. Scott Speed was racing at Monaco a year and a week ago.
It was the Monster Mile that took a few, but not Scott Speed. Scott Speed was able to overtake the Monster and win at Dover.